You're now listening to The Asian Trio, the podcast where we share cultural differences regarding different topics each episode. This is your main host, Maria, who represents Korean culture.
Hi, this is Chan-Woo from Malaysia.
This is Victoria from Vietnam.
And in today's episode, we're going to talk about marriage, including when people get married, family expectations, and traditional weddings in our cultures.
So, firstly, in Vietnam nowadays, the average age of marriage is around 26, and in the big cities, it can be even later, like close to 30. I think this shows that young people today have a very different priorities compared to the past. Instead of getting married early, people wanted to focus more on their education and their career and also personal development. Like they want to build a stable life before thinking about marriage. And I also feel like young people today want to enjoy their life more. They want to travel, try new things, and experience life before settling down. So getting married is no longer something they feel like they have to do at a certain age. And when it comes to family expectation, I think parents in Vietnam still care about this topic, but the way they express it is a bit different now. Usually, parents start bringing up marriage after their children graduate from university and get a stable job. So once you have a job, this is when people start asking questions like, "Do you have a partner?" or "When are you getting married?" But if someone continues studying, like doing a master degree, then it's completely normal to delay marriage for a few or more years. And families usually understand that from my perspective. I feel like the pressure nowadays is not as strong than before. Parents don't really force their children to get married, but sometimes there are still small reminder, like especially when you reach a certain age, it's not direct pressure, but more like something you can hear often from your family gatherings or relatives. However, young people today have much more freedom to make their own decision. They will decide when to get married or even whether they want to get married or not.
Do young people in Vietnam still see marriage as an important life goal?
Mm, I think marriage is still considered an important life goal in Vietnam, but not as strongly as before. Many young people see it like something meaningful, but not something they have to rush into. They prefer to focus on their career and personal development first and only get married when they feel they're ready.
Okay.
And about traditional weddings in Vietnam can vary a bit depending on the reason, since each area has its own custom and practices. But in general, there are still some common steps that most weddings follow. First, the engagement ceremony, which called lễ ăn hỏi, where the groom family visit the bride house and brings gifts like food, tea, wine, or traditional cakes, and these are usually prepared carefully. This part is important because it represents the official agreement between the two families, not just the couple. And then on the wedding day, the groom family come to the bride house again to formally bring the bride to the groom house. And during this time, there is often a tea ceremony where the couple serve the tea to their parents and the elders to show their respect and gratitude. Also, during this ceremony, the bride also receives the gift like money, gold, jewelry from the groom families. I think these are not just a gift, but also a way to show blessing and support for the couple future. Additionally, in the southern of Vietnam, there also another ritual where bride and groom light candle together in front of the family altar. It symbolizes their unions and also show that their marriage is recognized and blessed by both family and their ancestor. I think this is one of the most meaningful part because it really highlights the importance of family in Vietnamese culture.
So, Victoria, so what is your dream wedding like?
About me, I think my dream wedding would be something like simple and cozy. I would like to have it somewhere like nature, in the forest, or on a mountain, small place with just family and friends. I prefer a more private and warm atmosphere instead of a big wedding with a lot of people, especially the people who I even don't know about.
So do you prefer like some kind of like beach wedding, something like that?
No, actually, the small one, I just with close friend and like family members.
Okay.
And after that, there's usually a wedding party, which can be held at their house or the wedding hall, and often quite large and lively, with many guests like relatives, friends, colleagues. Also, there is food, music, and a very celebratory atmosphere. But nowadays, I think weddings are also changing because of the Western culture. Some young people prefer simpler, modern style, while others still want to keep the traditional element.
Also, just now like you mentioned that you prefer something like small wedding, right?
Yeah, yeah, I prefer a
Yeah.
small one.
Yeah. So for the small wedding, you like the traditional ones or the modern wedding, something like that?
I think I would want a mix of both traditional and modern. I still want to keep some traditional values because they are meaningful, but at the same time, I would prefer something simpler and more personal instead of a very big and complicated wedding. But
So now I would like to talk about Malaysia. So in Malaysia, people usually get married in their late 20s or maybe early 30s. Compared to the past, many young Malaysians are choosing to get married later. I think one of the main reasons is that people want to focus on their educations and career before settling down. Yeah, nowadays, like having a stable job and being financially stable are very important considerations before marriage. The cost of living is also increasing. So many young adults feel that they need to save money and prepare for the future before taking such a big step. So when it comes to the like, family expectations, I would say that parents still play an important role in Malaysia. Like family is a big part of our culture, of course. So many parents hope that their children will eventually get married and start a family of their own. Once someone reaches their late 20s, relatives may begin to ask questions like, do you have a partner yet? Or when are you getting married? Like these questions are especially common during family gathering or festival celebrations such as Chinese New Year. However, I think the level of pressure depends on the family. Some parents are more traditional and believe that marriage is an important milestone in life. They may worry if their children remain single like for too long. On the other hand, many parents today are becoming more understanding because they know that young people are face different challenges compared to previous generations. Like for example, housing prices are high, competition in the jobs market is stronger, and many people want to focus on personal goal before thinking about marriage. I also think attitude towards marriage are changing among younger Malaysians. In the past, like getting married was often seen as something everyone was expected to do. Today, many young people care more about like finding the right person rather than just simply getting married at a certain age. Some people even choose to stay single longer because they enjoy their independence, like want to travel or want to focus on their career first.
so, how about you? What do you think about marriage? Like, will you marry or that's not too important to you?
Like for me, I think marriage is meaningful, but I don't think everyone must get married. Yeah, so it's meaningful, but not everyone's like. I don't think everyone has to get married. Like if I meet the right person, someone I can trust and grow, then I will consider marriage. But if not, I think it's also okay to live like without marriage. To me, the quality of the relationship is more important than just having the title of and wife. Because I'm Chinese Malaysian, I will talk about the Chinese Malaysia culture. The tea ceremony is an important part of the wedding. During the ceremony, the bride and the groom serve tea to their parents or the elder as a way of showing respect. In return, the parents will give blessing and sometimes red pocket. Red pocket is like money. It's a meaningful tradition to emphasize family values and respect to older generations.
Yeah, seem like we both be affected by the Chinese culture. So how about people who are not Chinese Malaysian? Do they have any other ceremony similar to the tea ceremony?
Yeah, so I will talk about the Malay weddings. Yeah, for Malay weddings, they don't really have something like the Chinese tea ceremony, but they do have sanding, like where the bride and the groom sit together on a stage, like almost like a king, a queen for the day. Family members and guests come and congratulate them and give blessing. So even though they are not serving tea, the meaningful is quite similar because it's also like about the family respect and receiving good wishes from the parents or maybe others. So even though modern weddings are becoming more popular, many couples still choose to include traditional elements because they want to preserve their culture and family traditions. Some people prefer smaller weddings because they are less expensive and less stressful, while others still enjoy having a large celebrations with hundreds of guests. Personally, I think Malaysia wedding culture is very interesting because it reflects the diversity of the country. Even though Malay, Chinese, and Indians have different traditions, all of them that place a strong emphasis on family, respect, and community. In Malaysia, a wedding is not just about two people getting married. Is also like about the bringing two families together and celebrating an important milestones with the people who matter the most.
So, do you have like an ideal type of marriage ceremony in mind?
My ideal ceremony.
Yeah.
Actually, I prefer something like the modern style one because these days, like many young people prefer something like what we call beach wedding, like having a wedding beside the beach, right? Yeah, I prefer that kind of like wedding style. Yeah, the modern one, like because I don't like the place with a lot of people. So if I have the chance, I would just try to make a small one.
Oh, so like the ones in the Hollywood movies and stuff,
Oh yeah,
weddings
that
at
one.
the beach. Okay, okay,
Okay, so I would like to pass the mic to Hein.
okay. So for Korea, people also get married around the age of 30s. Feels like people think they should be financially stable in order to get married and build up a family. Plus, the number of people choosing not to marry at all is growing as well. Having a career, working hard for a job promotion, living without having to consider other family members, and taking care of oneself might sound more intriguing to some people. I feel like Koreans, Vietnamese, and Malays are all on the same page with this kind of part of life. As an Asian community member, we all share this one important tradition, which is a family. Marriage has always been more of a two families uniting together as one kind of thing, rather than two people becoming intimate and spending a life together. Even though this awareness has faded after time, parents still get in one's way and affect many parts of marriage for sure.
So what do you think about parents being involved in your marriage decision, or do you feel comfortable with that?
It is understandable that parents are wanting to give um guidance regarding their children's future, But I believe giving space and letting them to make their own decision and independent choices is very important. I'm not comfortable with parents being involved in my marriage decision. I think that despite the involvement, the person who's getting married should be the one in control of their own life. The funny thing is that nowadays, fewer parents are pressuring their kids to get married because they know how difficult it is to live a stable life before getting married. Instead, they pressure their kids while preparing for the wedding and after they get married. One's decision is not fully of their own, it's also of their parents, especially with financial factors and having a child.
And so, like, do you think a marriage today is still like mainly about family, or is just becoming a more about personal choice?
It is becoming more about a personal choice for sure, but it is still true that there are some elders who think that it should be more of the families. Traditional wedding in Korea is quite complex. So the bride and groom gets to wear a colorful fancy hanbok that the royal household wore back in the days. The bride tied a low hair bun with a bride wedding ribbon, a hair stick, and a bride headpiece, and wore colorful ceremonial dress with a variety of colors, mainly red, in her jacket, skirt, petticoat, and the shoes. Red circles were drawn on her forehead and two cheeks, which are believed to protect her. Before the wedding, the groom's family sends presents to the bride's family, and the bride's family takes a good care of the one who brought the presents. On the day of the wedding, the groom goes to the bride's house wearing fancy traditional clothing, riding a horse. When the groom enters the bride's home, the bride gets to prepare herself for the ceremony. At the beginning of the wedding, the groom gives a wooden wild goose sculpture, which represents a happy marriage, bows, and the bride receives the sculpture. Then the groom stands at the east side of the ceremonial table while the bride comes out of the waiting room with the help of the maid. The bride bows twice, the groom bows back once, then the bride bows again twice, and the groom bows back. After this bowing, they wash their hands, and after that, the bride's maid hands a glass of alcohol. The bride does not drink, but only allows her lips to touch the drink. Then the glass is passed to the groom. The groom also does this, passes the glass to the bride again, and then the bride does this one more time. After this, they change each other's glasses that are connected together with a red and a blue thread, and drinks for real this time. There are more steps after the marriage ceremony, but I'll skip the rest so that you guys can check it out on your own.
If you do get married one day, would you want a traditional wedding or something simple and modern?
I'm not actually planning to get married even like after in the future, but if I do get married, I would want a simple modern type. I've seen both types of marriage in one of my family members' wedding, and I believe that simple and modern weddings are mm, less expensive and there are less things to consider compared to the traditional one. So even though our cultures are different, you can see that family and marriage are still very important across all three countries. And I also think that there aren't many things that are different between each countries. As we wrap up this episode, we're going to wrap up this season as well. Thank you so much for listening and being part of our journey. This was the Asian Trio.